Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the world of strategy consulting. We're going to break down the exact mental models that elite consultants use to solve these massive, multi-billion-dollar problems, turning messy, complicated challenges into clear, actionable plans.
All right, let's dive right in with a real-world problem, a really high-stakes one. Imagine this. A major bank is just bleeding customers to some new low-cost competitor. The stakes are in the billions. How do you even begin to solve something like that?
So, a problem like that? That is exactly when the phone rings and strategy consultants get called in. They're the specialists you bring in when a company's facing a huge problem with absolutely no obvious answer. So let's dig into what they actually do. Okay, so at its heart, strategy consulting is really all about bringing a fresh, super structured outside perspective. Consultants kind of play two key roles here. They're content experts, right? They bring in these cool ideas from totally different industries, and they're also process guides, making sure the company is making smart, data-driven decisions, not just going with their gut. And these projects come in all shapes and sizes. Take strategy innovation, for example. This could be something like helping a national postal service figure out how to use its existing strengths. I mean, think about that massive logistics network they have to create totally new businesses you never even think of. And then you've got competitive strategy. This one takes us right back to our bank example. It's all about creating a rock-solid plan to fight back and grab a bigger slice of the market from some really tough competition. And I mean, they analyze everything from the competitor's financials to global market trends. But sometimes the problem isn't some outside competitor. It's actually the internal structure. That's where organization consulting comes in. Consultants might advise, say, a huge oil company on how to redesign its whole organization. It really boils down to a super critical question. Who reports to whom to make the entire company faster and, just more efficient? Then there's business planning support. In this kind of project, consultants are more like facilitators. They guide a company's leadership team to build out their own strategic plan. They help them spot those critical threats, like cheaper offshore producers, and also find those amazing untapped opportunities. And then you've got the big one, enterprise transformation. We're talking huge, company-wide overhauls here. This is about redesigning an entire business model from the ground up. Think about helping a minerals company pull off a massive 30% cost reduction just to survive when commodity prices suddenly plummet. Okay, so what does this all actually look like day to day? It is definitely not just a bunch of smart people sitting in a room, throwing out random ideas. Nope. It's a highly structured, super methodical process. And this right here, this is basically the roadmap for almost every single project. It always starts with a kickoff, then moves into some really careful work planning. After that, it's a deep dive into fact-finding. But the real magic, that happens in the synthesis stage, where all that data gets turned into a solid recommendation. And finally, the team will present their findings and help the client actually launch the change. All right, now let's get to the really good stuff, the secret sauce. We're talking about the mental models that power this entire process. And honestly, it's less about what consultants know and so much more about how they think. So this slide really highlights a crucial difference in thinking. See, most people, when they have a problem, they start by gathering all the data they can find and just hope an answer pops out. A process consultants kind of jokingly call wallowing. But the consulting approach, it flips that completely on its head. You start with a hypothesis, basically an educated guess, like our bank can win by offering more products. Then all your analysis is just laser focused on one thing, proving or disproving that specific idea. It is so much more efficient. It's easy to look at this and think, wow, that structured method must just kill creativity. But actually, the opposite is true. The structure gives creativity a purpose. It channels all your energy away from just endless, pointless analysis and focuses it on finding that one breakthrough insight that actually solves the whole problem. So let's say you've done it. You've cracked the case. But here's the thing. A brilliant solution is totally useless if nobody acts on it. So now you face the final crucial challenge. How do you communicate your big idea so that a super busy executive will get it, believe in it, and actually do something about it?
This is where a method called the pyramid principle comes in. It all starts with one single, powerful idea right at the top, the one-sentence answer to the client's biggest question. They call this the governing thought. And literally every single thing you say after that is just there to prove that one statement.
Then you start to build the supporting layers of your pyramid. See how each point in that second layer has to prove the governing thought right above it? And then each piece of data way down at the bottom has to prove the point directly above it? What you end up with is this unshakable, totally logical argument built from the bottom all the way up.
And this structure is so incredibly effective because it lets you pass what's known as the 30-second test. A leader should be able to look at this and immediately grasp the situation, the complication, and your proposed resolution, your governing thought. You give them the answer first, then you give them the proof.
All right, so after this whirlwind tour of the consultant's world, what are the big ideas you can actually take away and use to solve your own complex problems?
So these are really the core tools in the toolkit. You've got a way to categorize any problem, a structured 6-step process to tackle it, that awesome hypothesis-driven method to find an answer efficiently, and the pyramid principle to communicate that answer with just, absolute clarity. And look, this toolkit isn't just for consultants. It's for anyone who wants to think more strategically.
And really, that's the big takeaway here. This isn't just some framework for big business. It's a really powerful method for turning any overwhelming challenge, whether it's personal or professional, into a clear, solvable problem. So the only question left is, what problem are you going to tackle first?